When James Comer held up a pre-prepared banner, the audience in the hall was taken aback. The banner, featuring a photo of Bill Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell, and others by a pool, stood right in the middle of the committee room. So everyone can see it. Cameras, journalists, committee members, they were all locked on to that image. That photo of a former American president and the partner of a convicted sex trafficker smiling side by side spoke more than 1,000 words. The House Oversight Committee held a historic hearing today. If you've just discovered this channel, I recommend subscribing and turning on notifications, because much more will come out of this file in the coming days. The official agenda for the session was 2 contempt resolutions, a charge of contempt of Congress. Targets: former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Reason: their refusal to comply with summons duly issued by the committee for 6 months. When Comer, the Kentucky Republican and chairman of the Oversight Committee, took the podium, his voice was calm. That calmness was deceptive, because the evidence he had, and the story he told, was far from calm. Today, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee is meeting to consider 2 resolutions recommending that former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton be held in contempt of Congress. He looked at his papers. This committee is not taking this step lightly. But summons are not suggestions. They carry the power of the law. They require adaptation. Before eating, he laid out the timeline. And this chart, a 6-month story of resistance, revealed how the Clintons systematically blocked Congress. 6 months ago, a vote was held in the Federal Law Enforcement Subcommittee of this committee. The expression of interest calls for the Clintons were put to a vote. He picked up a piece of paper. Result: unanimous. Republicans and Democrats together. Voice vote. There isn't a single objection. It was important for him to emphasize this point, because this proved it wasn't a partisan attack. More than 5 months ago, I officially issued these 2 bipartisan subpoenas. The goal was clear: to investigate how the federal government handled the criminal cases of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. He looked at the committee members. And the Clintons' testimony, it's critical for this investigation, because they have documented relationships with Epstein and Maxwell. And that's when Comer held up the first sign. A high-resolution photo is printed on it. Bill Clinton and Ghislaine Maxwell, side by side, smiling. In the other photo, we see Bill Clinton in a pool. This photo, Comer said, turning the banner toward the cameras, comes from the Department of Justice's release of the Epstein files on December 19, 2025. It's an official document. It's not a conspiracy theory. The committee room had fallen completely silent. The journalists' pens had stopped. Everyone was looking at that photo. And there's a detail I'd like to draw your attention to, Comer said. There's a third person in the photo, but his face is darkened. The Ministry of Justice has concealed this person's identity. He lowered the banner. Who is this person? Why is it being protected? These questions are still unanswered. Comer took the second banner. This time, it's a different image. Bill Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell, and a woman with her face blurred, the 3 of them swimming together in a pool. A comfortable, intimate, special moment. This is from the same explanation, Comer said. Clinton, Maxwell, and an unidentified person, in the pool, while spending time together. He held the banner so that the committee members could see it. What do these photos show? It shows that the Clintons had more than a casual acquaintance with Epstein and Maxwell. This is a close relationship. Holidays, pool parties, special moments, family environment. But Comer wasn't limited to just photos. He also listed the other evidence he had one by one. We have flight records. He showed me a document. Epstein's private jet, the plane publicly known as the Lolita Express. And these records show that Clinton traveled on this plane repeatedly. Not once, not twice, repeatedly. He downloaded the document. We have wedding invitations. Ghislaine Maxwell was invited to Chelsea Clinton's 2010 wedding, and Maxwell accepted this invitation. He attended the wedding. He looked at the committee members. There are other materials: letters, notes, correspondence. This committee demanded everything. And what did the Clintons do? A brief silence. Nothing. They refused to give a statement. For 6 months. If you want this content to spread and reach more people, liking the video and subscribing really makes a difference in terms of the algorithm. Share your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think the obscured faces in these photos belong to? Comer now detailed the Clintons' 6-month attitude. This committee acted in good faith, he said. We offered flexibility in terms of timing. We evaluated the historical suggestions. We tried to be accommodating. He raised his voice, not in anger, but with disappointment in that tone. And what did we get in return? Not cooperation, challenge, repeated delays, constant excuses, systematic obstruction. He took a piece of paper. The Clintons finally sent something. Not us? Short, bulleted written notes. Superficial, inadequate statements that did not answer the committee's dozens of questions. He put the paper on the table. But the cells didn't want written notes. Cell phones required face-to-face expression. Deposition, meaning a statement that can be questioned, cross-examined, and given under oath. Comer's next move was clever. He explained why the Clintons received different treatment by comparing them to other witnesses. Some are asking, why did you accept written statements from some witnesses but not from the Clintons? Is this fair? He pulled out a list. We received written statements from former Attorneys General Eric Holder, Loretta Lynch, Jeff Sessions, and Merrick Garland. Also from former FBI Director James Comey. He showed the list. Why? Because none of these individuals remembered any specific information related to the Epstein investigation. And none of them had a personal relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He had no social connections. They didn't have any photos. There were no flight records. He downloaded the list. But we asked former Attorney General William Barr to testify in person. He came. He answered our questions. He added another name. We requested an in-person deposition from former Labor Secretary and U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta. He came too. He replied too. He turned to the committee members. Barr is a Republican. Acosta is a Republican. They both showed respect for this committee. They both obeyed the law. So why can't the Clintons do it? Here, Comer used the words of Democratic Ranking Member Garcia against him. And these words that came straight from Garcia's mouth, put Democrats defending the Clintons in an impossible position today. Ranking Member Garcia was very clear on this issue, Comer said, holding a transcript. He started reading. Failing to comply with a congressional subpoena is extremely illegal. Garcia's words. That's exactly what he said. He read a second quote. No one is above the law. Actions have consequences. Garcia again. Again, it's his words. He put the transcript on the table. I agree with these principles. I completely agree. But now I ask, do these principles only apply to Republicans? Or are the Clintons also subject to the law? The Democrat looked at the committee members. Today you will make a choice. Or you will be true to your word and support the contempt decision. Or you'll show all of America how hypocritical you are. Comer also addressed the Democrats' weekend distraction strategy. Ranking Member Garcia made a statement to the press over the weekend. Instead of the Clintons, he wanted Attorney General Bondi held in contempt. He shook his head from side to side. This strategy is clear, to divert attention away from the Clintons. But the facts are clear. He compared the two situations. What are Attorney General Bondi and the Department of Justice doing? He's producing a document. Yes, the speed is slow. We all wish it were faster. But production is continuing. Redaction is being done to protect victim information. This is time-consuming. He hardened his voice. So, what are the Clintons doing? Nothing. They haven't given a single statement in 6 months. They didn't step into the committee room. They completely ignored the pockets. He returned to the committee. Bondi is producing documents. The Clintons are rejecting them. Are the Democrats targeting Bondi? Is this logic? Comer held up a third banner. This time, a different kind of image. An interior photo from Epstein's New York mansion. Luxury furniture. There are paintings on the wall. And a few people sitting around the table, all with darkened faces. These photos, Comer said, are photos that the American people have a right to see. And the Clintons, under oath, have photos they need to explain. He lowered the banner. Over 250 girls were victims in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network. This is not my claim. Official statement from the Ministry of Justice. Over 250 children. He lowered his voice, but the effect was stronger. As this committee, our task is to understand how this network works, to find out who is included, to reveal who is being protected, and to strengthen laws to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Comer asked the most fundamental question. Why don't the Clintons want to testify? He waited for a moment. Think about it. If they are innocent, if they have no connection to Epstein's crimes, why aren't they coming forward? Why don't they say, "I'm innocent, I'll answer your questions"? He pointed to the banners. These photos are out there. The flight records are clear. The wedding invitations are out. The Clintons can explain this evidence. It can provide context. They might say, "It was just a social acquaintance." He raised his voice. But they're not coming. They've been on the run for 6 months. And this escape, this silence, is a message in itself. The session continued even after Comer's speech. Democrats took the floor. Discussions were held. He presented counter-arguments targeting Garcia, Bondi, and the Department of Justice. But those banners, those photos, were etched in everyone's minds. Bill Clinton and Ghislaine Maxwell smiling by the pool, while the three of them were swimming in the pool together. At Epstein's mansion, with people whose faces were blurred, and a 6-month-old question. Why don't the Clintons want to release these photos? Let's evaluate what these mean. First, these photos are not conspiracy theories. This comes from the official statement of the Ministry of Justice dated December 19, 2025, the federal government's own document. Second, the drafts had received bipartisan approval. Democrats also unanimously supported it. This isn't a one-sided attack by the Republicans. At least, it wasn't initially. Third, Republican witnesses testified. William Barr has arrived. Alex Acosta has arrived. They are both Republicans, and they both followed the law. What's the Clintons' excuse? Fourthly, Garcia's words contradict him. Not complying with the summons to Congress is illegal, he had said. Now he's defending the Clintons. This contradiction is clear and obvious. Fifth, darkened faces are a question mark. Who are the other people in the photos? Why is the Ministry of Justice hiding it? What national security justification justifies protecting the partners of child traffickers? More than 250 children were sacrificed. This isn't just a number. These are lives, destroyed futures. And the network behind this brutality has still not been fully illuminated. Where did the Clintons fit into this network? Were they just socially connected? Or was there a deeper connection? He wants the answers to these questions. Congress wants answers to these questions. The families of over 250 victims want answers to these questions. But the Clintons, for 6 months now, have refused to speak. The contempt decision will be voted on in the committee today. It's expected to pass. Republicans are in the majority. From there, it will go to the entire House of Representatives. And if it passes there too, the Clintons will officially face charges of contempt of Congress. This could have legal consequences. Monetary fine, even theoretically, it's imprisonment. But more importantly, public pressure. The American people saw these photos, and it's waiting for an answer. Will the Clintons finally testify? Will they reveal the photos, flight records, and wedding invitations? Or will they continue their silence and their escapes? The coming days will provide the answer. If you don't want to miss any updates, subscribe and keep notifications on. And share this video with your friends and family. Everyone needs to see those photos. Also check out the suggested videos on the screen. The one on the left is the moment Maxwell's February 9th congressional statement was announced. Patel's reaction is worth seeing. The one on the right is those chaotic moments when tensions between Schiff and Patel escalated and security intervened. Both are important for understanding the big picture of today's Clinton matter. Be sure to take a look at the 2 videos you see on the screen. Both are critical for you to understand Bill Clinton's connection to Epstein more clearly. Click now, don't miss out.